Hey, hey, everybody. Happy Monday. I am excited to come to you live today in the Wealthy Wellness Biz group and membership. If you're not already a part of us and you're watching this some other way and you'd love to join, we'll make sure to put the links below this video or on the side of this video so you can join us. Today, we are working on a series, the last few weeks, we've been working on a series all about team building. So every week, if you haven't already gone through that, you want to get into the membership so that you can access the training from the previous week. So I think we've done 3 trainings so far. Hiring your first VA, we did delegation, building a team. And this week, we're talking all about personality tests to help you build a team. So I think this is a really overlooked thing in team building. A lot of times we get like something we talked about in the previous episodes is I think as business owners, especially if we're solo business owners, so you might be like a health coach or a practitioner, or you might be solopreneur and trying to build your business. I think one of the things that we do is we get like really, really overwhelmed by the amount of work that we have to do. We realize almost a little bit too late that there are so many different facets and so many things that come into starting a business. Um, that we sometimes realize too late that we need to hire somebody. And when it's not a thought out process, and when you're not following this, something we talked about before, which is getting into maybe you can't do this at the very beginning, but getting into the habit of hiring people before you're ready. So kind of anticipating, okay, I can see in a few months that I'll probably like I can see where I'm at right now. I'm building online programs, I'm building a membership, I'm building out my packages for my clients. So you might be at a stage where you're doing a lot of building. You can start to look ahead and you can start to see, okay, I think can anticipate in about 2 months, once I'm finished the building stage, I'm going to need somebody to help me to grow this. So that might be a Facebook ads company, that might be a marketing company, that might be a marketing assistant. And I think when you have a good sense of what your vision is and where your goals are, you can start to anticipate when you'll be ready for your next person. Now, next week, we're going to go a little bit deeper into organizational charts and how to start building out a structure for the type of team that you want and your kind of vision for like which positions that you like to fill as time goes by. So like what are your most for most of us, like an admin person is going to be our very first hire or very first like, oh my God, I have to have this person. I just have so much work that's going on and it's you need somebody to step in and really just like start um taking those tasks off your plate, especially like the kind of low hanging fruit tasks, things like responding to comments or emails or keeping things organized, data entry, researching. There's a lot of like kind of a low hanging fruit tasks that a virtual assistant can come in and actually give us back a few hours in our week. So but after an admin person, if you're looking to grow a business and you're going to have other things going on, you're going to have a vision, you'll have whether you're rolling out programs or events or summits, things like that, you'll want to start to build that team. So we'll go in deeper kind of different roles and positions and how to like structure that and how to kind of have a bigger vision for what your team could look like, should like look like, want to look like. I mean, I like the team building section, this whole session that we're going through series. It kind of asks you the question like, do you even want to have a team? I think that's a very important question to ask. I mean, I think your business can only be so big without a team. And maybe that's okay. I think it kind of aligns us back to the bigger vision around how much money do you want to make in your business? How successful do you want your business to be? And that doesn't always mean $1 million plus business isn't always necessary for everybody. For some of us, it's like I want to work, have this many clients, work a certain amount of hours per week. And I don't want to manage a big team, for myself. Like I can't envision having hundreds of people in an office somewhere. That just doesn't really jive with, maybe that's a business that I can make a significant amount of money more than I'm making right now, or have the capacity to make, but it doesn't jive with my lifestyle and my values. It doesn't jive with my one of my core lifestyle values or non-negotiables is the feeling of freedom. I can't think of anything that I mean, there's lots of things that are less free, but for me, running a business, I feel like as soon as I would add a lot of people in an office and really stepping into that, it feels very corporate and it feels very antithetical to what I'm doing. But there's lots of models out there. And I just want to make sure that's clear as we go through team building, that it's like the expectation is not that you have a huge team. I mean, you could run $1 million business with just 3 or 4 people, especially if you have the right people in the right roles. And that's what we're talking about today. So, one of the things that I see people, a great missed opportunity is to use personality tests. I'm a personality test junkie. I love learning about myself and others. But it's like it's an underutilized tool when it comes to the hiring process. So I wanted to go through some of my favorite personality tests for adding people to your team. So, this could either be you have people go through these tests before you hire them. This would be a great idea if you think this is somebody who it's like a role that you're looking to fill at a higher level, like a marketing manager for your business, or you're an ideas person and have had, your wheels are always spinning with ideas, but you've had a really hard time implementing. So you may want to bring in an implementer. You want to bring in a business operations person or a project manager. So like having the personality test for a virtual assistant, that's really important too. But these become even more important as you build out like a bigger role beyond just admin. So I'm going to go through 5 of my favorite personality tests, just tell you a little bit about each one. And they're going to range from, we're going to start out in the more serious, kind of corporate, business minded category. And then we'll go to the esoteric because I think for me, it's even on sales calls, we'll end with like astrology and that kind of more like esoteric stuff. But even on sales calls with people, I'm always asking them what their astrological signs are. It's like a funny little research project that I'm doing within my own business to see are the marketing efforts that we're doing attracting a certain type of person. Myers-Briggs is something that I ask a lot, and I'm an INFJ, and we get a lot of INFJs that work with us. So disproportionately, the applications that come in and the sales calls and who decides to hire with us are like out of all of the Myers-Briggs disproportionately high, considering that it's not a super common sign. We seem to be everywhere, but I think it's like when you're marketing and you're branding, it's really good. You can start to like attracts like or complementary. So the same thing can be true about hiring people, but there's a couple of things that we want to know. So the first one here, so I've got my screen up, and this is the Colby A index. Now, a few of these tests are actually paid, but I think that they're worth spending the money. So I think maybe this one is about $50. Yeah, 55. I would say for all of these, I would want you to know this about yourself and about the people that you're hiring, especially if this is a high level role. So say you're hiring for like a marketing manager or something like that, or an implementer, business operations person, and maybe you have a few really good applicants. I would use my own money to have them go through a Colby A test and see, because I think the big picture vision here around personality tests and around hiring in general is it's easy sometimes to hire people who are like us because we have a natural rapport. It's like, oh, she was so awesome. We felt like we could just like talk for days. I don't need another me. I already have a me. Like, and the more that I get comfortable in business and the more that I spend time actually digging into these things, the more I understand where my strengths lie and where my strengths aren't. So I am a typical CEO visionary. I like spending my week thinking about my business. I like reading books about business. I like having my clipboard, coming up with ideas. I like whiteboarding, ideation, how we can, like add new things to the business and kind of holding pace for the vision. I'm not a great implementer, and I certainly am not somebody who has a lot of follow through. Maybe a middle market with implementation because I actually like setting the systems up. Like I enjoy creating things. I mean, I'm in a creative industry and I like starting things, but follow through is really bad. Um, and I'm a quick start. So that means I can take an idea and create it and make it manifest and implement it very quickly, much quicker than like your average, like a non-quick start would. I don't need to have all the facts. I don't need to like think it out so much. I can move kind of instinctually, and there's nothing necessarily right or wrong with that, but having that understanding of myself and yourself. So you go in, you take the quiz yourself, and you can kind of see here like we've got fact finder, we've got follow through, we've got quick start and implementer. And it's going to give you like the levels. I think I was like a level 10 on the quick start or 9 on the quick start. Very, very low on the follow through and very low on the fact finder. It, these are core principles that help even within your sales and your marketing. As somebody for myself who's a quick start and not a fact finder, I don't have to read a whole sales page. I just get an instinct and I get a hit about like this is the right thing to do. I'm going to buy this, or I've been looking for it. It's been kind of in the back of my mind, and if I find it, where's the buy button? They're like almost pre-digested uh, decisions. So when I see it, I can just really move. But then you got to honor that some people in your audience will be a huge fact finder, and they're going to want to have all the FAQs and all the details. And we can go into this in the future around sales pages and how to take the different personality types and make sure that everybody has something for them. But in terms of taking the personality test, I would definitely take this for yourself so you have a good sense of where your numbers are and then what you're looking for, depending on what the role is. You're going to look for things that complement that. So, for example, if I know I'm a very high quick start, a very low follow through, very low fact finder, and kind of a mid range implementer, I'm going to look for somebody depending on what role I'm like, am I hiring for a business ops person? I will always need somebody who can keep the daily pace. I will always need somebody who can show up reliably, consistently, do the work. And because that's not where my energy wants to move, that is a blockage to my most productive energy. I want to flow and not be consistent. It's part of the beauty. We're all different. It's part of being a quick start. It's part of being an ideas person. A visionary is like consistency is like almost the death of that. There's one thing about showing up. Like it's important to kind of show up for ourselves and our business. And I certainly show up for this business every single day and then some. But how my energy wants to move throughout those days is not consistent. So I need somebody who's there every day on the emails and the project management, responding to people, kind of setting that tone. But you might actually be kind of the opposite. You're like a high fact finder, you're high follow through, um, great implementation, but that might get you a little hamstrung and moving quickly. Or that might get you overthinking your ideas. You need somebody to just come in and be decisive and be like, yeah, I think this is what we're going to do. In which case you might be looking for like a marketing person, an ideas person. I'm going to play loose and fast with the what the job descriptions are, but like You might want somebody that comes in and kind of freshens up with ideas and this is a marketing campaign we can do, and this is an idea that I had for this, and this is what we can do for social media. If you feel a little stagnant in that, you're going to be looking for different results here on the Colby A. So if I was hiring somebody in a really creative role, somebody that I wanted to have lots of ideas, I saw like high fact finding, high follow through. I mean, those are good things, but like I might question their ability to like they might be a little too consistent, you know? And so I hope you get like this is a very, very broad overview, but I hope this gives you a sense of like Colby A is like a place to start where you just get the kind of down and dirty results of like how do you take action? You know, are you somebody who I like sorry, I just wanted to scroll down and see if there's anything else in here. Um yeah, how do you take action? Are you what's your consistency level? And then going through these different things and comparing them so you can kind of compare and contrast. So that's where I would start. And then I would move on to we're kind of moving into a little bit more like fun, still very helpful, but I feel like Colbier is just definitely the more like corporate. And there's lots and lots of personality tests. So these are just five of my favorite, but doesn't mean these are the be all end all. So this one is free, I believe. It's 16 personalities. It's based on Myers Briggs. It takes, oh, well, it says it takes 10 minutes. What I love about this is you are going to, if you haven't um, been introduced to Myers Briggs, it's going to be a tool to help you figure out one, if your team hire is an introvert or an extrovert. So different roles will require, you know, a lot of people on our team are introverts and creative introverts. And then there were a few positions like community manager, marketing assistant that I wanted somebody to be more extroverted. I wanted that to be, but not just say they're extroverted, but actually be a part of their personality, right? So you'll get an I or an E, depending on you're an introvert, extrovert, that will give you a little bit more intel around like, you know, is an extrovert going to want to have some more meetings and texting and a little more like in the Slack channel? Is an introvert, like our team made of introverts, prefers um, hardly any meetings. So let's just like assign and figure out who's going to do what and have like, we use Asana, we have a central channel to kind of keep everybody together. And then let's just check in at the end of the week. So unless anybody needs anything from me, we're just all off doing our own thing. Everybody knows what they're doing. So don't think just because you have a team that you have to like have meetings all the time, you have to be on Slack all the time, you're going to like lose so much of your time just managing everybody. Because if you know, well, three of us on the team are introverts, like how do we structure this so that we feel supported in how we want to communicate? Maybe we don't need to communicate every day. Maybe we just need to know what we're working on and then just let us go about our little merry introverted way, you know, whereas like an extroverted team might want retreats and socials and Zoom calls and, you know, or you might have a blend of all of them. So you're going to find out like the introversion, extroversion. You're going to find out just kind of modes of sensing and relating to the world. So we have a lot of N is intuitive. We have the team is pretty much all made out of intuitive. And that's important to me because I need people on the team to be able to like feel and use and like sense and have like a deep kind of intuition around like whether it's copywriting or design or strategy. That's important for our business. It might not be important for yours. And then you have like things like whether you're a thinker or a feeler, that's important to know. And then whether you are a judger or perceiver, which is, I think, I'm not a Myers Briggs expert by any stretch of the imagination, but in my mind is a little bit more about like how organized you are. I think, you know, you P's, I think, tend to be a little bit more like kind of go with the flow, and J's tend to be a little bit more um, organized and kind of structured around things. So You get 4 letters, and then in here will be, like, a description. What I love about, like, asking new hires to do personality trust tests is that they're learning things about themselves at the same time, and I think it can be a great conversation opener too. So, like, if you go through and you do your own 16 personalities tests, you can kind of share back and forth, and I think the name of the game is just seeing how complementary you are, but not how similar you are, although that's cool. Um, but, like, how to find somebody that has complementary skills that just kind of slots right in with who you are. And there's, you can even go in like uh INFJs like myself are complementary. Myers-Briggs is an ENFP. It's actually with what my partner is an ENFP. And what an ENFP brings an INFJ is like ideas and excitement and a little bit more go with the flowness, a little more engaged with the world, where an INFJ can be kind of insular and not in a bad way, but just in our own world. And so the ENFP brings us out. And so uh having an ENFP, having that complementary Myers-Briggs, can be really helpful to kind of unlock a lot of, like, business magic, I guess is the best way I would say it. Um, unlocking that magic between, like, what happens when you put 2 really complementary personalities together and have them work on a task where the 2 people see things slightly different and can bring new things to the table. So, yeah, I would love, would highly recommend 16 personalities for getting your team excuse me, for understanding, more about who you're hiring. So this kind of brings up, like, a deeper understanding of who they are. Another one that I love is Sally Hogshead's, How to Fascinate. This is also it used to be a paid test. I'm not sure if it's still yeah, Fascinate. I don't know if this is something that you just need the test. You don't need the brand kit or the brand playbook. I mean, definitely if you get into her funnel and you really like it, like, upgrade because she seems super dope. I have 2 of her books that are really interesting, but I would do this yourself too. There's a lot of really cool details in here, and it uses this, like, personality matrix. I wonder if I could see. Just wanted to see if I could show you some what the matrix looks like. So you get a lot of details. I know that mine was called the talent. It was like on the matrix, like the mixture of passion and prestige. So it's like 2 archetypes. It's based on brand archetypes basically. And so you have like the 2 archetypes and where they meet in the middle. And then each one has like a lot of information about it and about who you are. So I think one, knowing this for yourself, and 2, knowing it for any of your hires, so you can really understand them better. But this is a fun one. It's if you have a full team, it's a fun one to do as a team and actually see what everybody gets. Now, my last 2 are way more on the and we'll put all these links in the group too, but the last ones 2 are way more esoteric, and depending on, like, what your type is and how you are, you might wanna ask these or not. I love asking everybody because I feel like once you kind of have the shorthand, it gives you a lot of information about a person without, like, it being personal. So, like, I can how we use this for clients, so I like to know what our clients' astrological signs are in as much depth as they care to share, because I've learned over the years that different signs like to communicate in different ways. Some are more like Virgos tend to be more like they need, give me a questionnaire to fill out, have the questions be very like specific so I know what I'm asking. Whereas like a Pisces can kind of flow more, water sign kind of can flow more in the vibe of something. Like I'm talking specifically about the branding work that we do. Like oh, Pisces, I can ask like, hey, you're feeling the vibe of this? And it's just like, yeah, I really like the vibe. Virgo's gonna be like, "I don't even understand what that question means." Like, why don't I answer the question about like, do I like the color? Or, like we get very like specific. I know my Sagittarii like tend to want phone calls and are a little more like want to just talk it out and just like, no way do I want to fill out a form. Just like, let me just tell you what I'm thinking, and some people will be like more kind of introverted. So if you can get a sense of like astrology compatibility with your own, the things that I like to look out for are it's kind of the astrology trifecta. So we have your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. Your rising sign, you need to have your birth time in order to do that. But um, otherwise, you can get, I'm pretty sure you can get the other two. So most people just know their sun sign, but it really is a recipe of three. So, like, what is your own recipe from when your sun sign and your moon sign and your rising sign all mixed together? That's a very unique combination. And so knowing that about the people that we work with can help us to understand them better and understand where they complement us. Um, Especially the moon sign is where our like emotions, it's like the emotional pulse of our chart, and that could be really good to know when you're coming into conflict with people. You will at some point have conflict with the people that you're working with. And how do they deal with that? Like my moon is in Leo. And so that fire sign, that kind of lion energy will come up in conflict. But what if I'm trying to relate with someone that works with me whose moon's in Virgo? So like just knowing, I think it helps understand communicating in a little bit of conflict. And then the last one here, just fun, and I've just been diving into this. It's so overwhelming. So it's I'm almost like get into it and then don't get into it at the same time because you can really go down a rabbit hole, but it's a human design system. So there are so many parts of human design. The one that I think is cool and relevant, oh, it's all relevant, but the one that I really appreciate for hiring a team and just knowing who you are also, because part of hiring the team is like knowing who you are as a boss too, know who you are as a manager of this. Like if I know that I'm visionary and CEO and quick start, that means that I'm not a micromanager. Like I want to have really independent people that work with me, people who don't need to like be but just kind of go off and just do their own thing after we have like a meeting and clear up any questions. Because the more I got into the personality test, the more I understood my own like managerial style and business ownership style. And the people that you hire should complement that and they should complement your vision. So if your vision is to be working 10 hours a week and having a successful business, if that's something that you're working towards, um, you need to make sure that you're hiring people that are capable in their skills, but are also complementary to you. So within human design, there's four types. So you've got your manifestors, you got your generators, which are a little more like kind of worker bees, projectors, which I'm not even sure I fully understand. There's not many of them. I think we're 20%. I think it's like projecting back other people's energy. Um, and there's reflectors, and then there's also manifesting generators, which isn't on this list. So I guess there's five. That's kind of a combination of the two. So we won't go deeply in there other than just me opening the door and just letting you know that there's this whole human design system. I think it's like it's important for me in terms of like I have curiosity around like what people's types are to see how they move in the world, like manifestors, manifesting generators tend to like get stuff done really quickly. Like I'm a manifesting generator. We are designed to skip steps. Like we're not designed to do every single step. And that was great to know because I used to judge myself for not doing every step. Like or we can launch products without being fully like an expert in them. We're just like, okay, cool. I like have this, like, what are the tools? What's the knowledge that I need? And then you can just go and just feel like you can just do it. But then you need somebody to help you kind of ground it out and have the plan and make sure you work the system so that every day you get sales and all that good stuff. Versus like a generator who is kind of more your like steady, I'm going to be here like working, making sure that everything is like ticking away perfectly. So, um, we'll put the links in here. So we got the just to kind of wrap up. Colby A is where I would start. 16 personalities. That might be a good stopping point right there for like most positions. But if you are like a geek like me and you want to get into the other tests, how to fascinate is more kind of on the business side of things and archetypes. Astrology can give you a lot of good data around how somebody communicates and how they are under pressure. And then human design, if you really dig into it, can offer a whole host of understanding about yourself and your purpose in life and your what they call strategy, but it might be a little too complex for just hiring somebody. But if you have a team and you guys love personal development, I would dig in here and just kind of personally, this is one of my favorite personality tests. So I hope all of this has been helpful around personality tests and growing your team. Looking forward to coming back next week and talking about, I was just like lost it for a second, talking about organizational charts and how to build out a vision for your team. So, not just who you're like itching to hire right now because you're so busy and you need somebody to help, but like what is the vision that you're moving into in terms of where you're at right now, where you see yourself in 3, 6, 9, 12 months plus. So I'll see you there. Any questions, please ask them in the group and you guys have a great week. If you haven't already joined our membership, make sure that you follow the link and join us. And see you next week. Bye, guys.